another time for the podcast. We're super excited, man. It's going to be a great episode, but we're also excited about the one, the only, Hamish Allan-Headley coming on the show from Mayor of Kingstown.
Oh, man. Robert himself.
Yes.
You know who he is, the badass SWAT guy that you go to when you're in trouble and you need a cleanup.
Exactly.
That guy. It kind of like real life. Like that's your guy. That's the guy you go to. Wait until you hear this interview, man. He's just fantastic. And when you hear where he came from and how he got to where he is now, it's an amazing story, man.
It really is. It really is. It caught me by surprise. I'll admit.
For sure.
I'll admit. But man, oh man, we're super excited about that. But that's later on the show. Now, here's a word from our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Self-Pause, a self-affirmation meditation app that helps you start your day, stay motivated, and love yourself. Because you guys know we have been talking about this subject a lot with our guests on the podcast about staying mentally prepared for the entertainment industry and how to do that when preparing yourself for life. So this app, Self-Pause, is definitely a way to keep your mental health on track.
Absolutely. And here's the really great thing about it. It's available in the App Store, so you can get it no matter what you got, what kind of phone you got or whatever. And they offer two different tiers. There's a free tier and a premium tier. Now, if you're worried about the premium tier, guess what? You can try it out free for 2 weeks, 14 days, and then it's only $3.99 after that a month. I mean, to keep your mental stability and to keep positive and that's worth it.
Exactly.
Totally worth it. You guys need to check this app out. Do it. We love it. I think you will too.
I really think so as well. Selfpause.com, and like he said, Google Play and the App Store on iOS, iPhone systems.
Yes.
But now it is time to get this crazy show started. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Crazy Ant Farm. Holy moly, we are on YouTube this week. So excited about it. Oh my goodness, you guys know I am the camera freaking guy, so I was upset. I was very upset, but we're here, we're happy, and it's going to be a great episode, guys, because you guys know your host with the most, myself, JLo Fantastic, and the one and only Mouth.
What's up?
Guys, we got so much going down in Hollywood this week. So many beautiful things. Are you This Is Us fans along with Marvel fans? Ooh, we got some sweet news for you about that one.
I was very excited about this one.
Dude, I mean, beautiful. Beautiful casting. And of course, we're talking more about the Oscars. Those are coming up next month, so we got to stay up to date with that. And just so much stuff happening with the streaming wars and new shows coming out and all the beautiful things in the entertainment industry. If it's going down in Hollywood, we are talking about it. But before we get the industry news started, be sure to head over to our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We got shirts, we got hats, we got sweatshirts, we got tank tops. If you go to the gym, we have all your workout attire. If you sleep, we have your sleeping attire. If you wear socks, we have your socks attire. We have it all for basically anyone.
Like, seriously, if you follow Jeremy Gordon, you saw it. If you cook, we have aprons.
Literally.
Yeah, his little guy had an apron on. It looked so good. It looked so amazing.
I'm so excited.
By the way, thank you, Jeremy. Awesome job.
Yes, so great, so great. We have bags. We have it all. We have everything. It all. So be sure to head over there, www.crazyantmedia.com, and be sure to follow us at Crazy Ant Media and at ITCAFpodcast so you can know those promo codes and those promo times. So I'm just saying, it's necessary. It's necessary. But of course, we're getting started with the juggernaut itself, Disney. And 8 out of the 23 Oscar categories will not be presented live on March 27th broadcast.
Not a popular decision.
Yeah, not a popular decision. A lot of people on Twitter are hammering this one. Instead, they will be taped in the hour before the telecast and then run at points during the show. Those categories are documentary of the short film, film editing, makeup and hairstyling, music on the original score side, production design, short film animated, and short film live action, and also sound. Now, in a letter just went out from the Academy president, David Rubin, to nominees and members, explanations were given for the change, saying it is intended to broaden the audience for the show. Sources at the Academy also indicate that decision came after suggestions from ABC, probably trying to shorten it down, where feedback was offered with the understanding that they need to increase and maintain viewer engagement and how important that is. Because, so many times everybody complains about how long it is and they'll drop in and out during the broadcast. So they're trying to fix that, man. They're trying to fix it.
Yeah, I mean, I get, because, guys, it's not that it won't air during the Oscars.
Yeah.
It's just you won't know. Because they're going to edit it and then put it in there as if, it was live, but it'll be edited. And I get that. I get shorten the speeches down, cut the speeches down, whatever to kind of do. But newsflash, ABC, and we love Disney. We love them all. But newsflash, if you want people to stay engaged and build the audience and watch, you need to tell the Academy to fucking broaden its, take the blinders off and broaden the fucking, scope.
Yep.
Spider-Man No Way Home, that would attract a fucking audience, Just say. One movie, guys, Dune. Out of all the Oscar nominees, only one movie, Dune, made more than $100 million at the box office.
Yep.
That is the problem.
Yep.
Not taking away anything from the other films. They're all brilliant filmmakers. They're all worthy of Oscar nominations. But if you want a broad audience and a large, following to watch your show, you have to include the audiences that are seeing the blockbusters, that are seeing those type films. Otherwise, you're not getting it.
Exactly.
I'm sorry,
we hear this conversation and we hear this term all the time when it comes to the Oscars and the films nominated. The artsy films get nominated. Well, artsy is actually just films that don't get seen by a mass audience. That's all artsy is. So, because every single film that gets put out there is art. So, they classify artsy basically as the ones that not a lot of people see. So it's interesting, man. It's interesting. And yeah, I think there's going to be some spoilers too. Since it's taped, an hour before the actual broadcast, people are going to be tweeting who are actually at the awards, be like, oh my goodness, so-and-so won. Be like, well, we didn't know that yet because it's not on TV yet.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be an interesting dynamic. I'm excited though because we're still plowing through all of the films for the Oscars. I think we're doing a pretty good job.
I think so.
Yeah.
I've got, 22 of them down so far out of 38. I'm getting
just
there.
Saying,
Still got a month to go. It's fine. All right, now guys, Blade.
Yes.
One of the first Marvel movies ever, even predated the X-Men. Mm-hmm. Okay, so guys, now the MCU is rebooting it. It's you guys know, you've heard the story. Well, casting announcements are coming left and right. They are adding people to this. So the Blade reboot. By the way, it's actually getting ready to start filming. Yeah. They have added Aaron Pierre to the cast of the upcoming, and as you guys know, Mahershala Ali is going to play Blade film. No details regarding Pierre's character are available, but sources say that Marvel Studios engaged in a very deliberate and sweeping casting process, so they kind of knew exactly who they wanted for this role. Pierre is now the third official addition to the Blade cast. As you guys would remember, in November, we told you that Delroy Lindo officially joined the Marvel reboot in a mystery role. Now, Ali's casting as the eponymous vampire hunter himself, Blade, that was unveiled in 2019 at the big, Disney 23 Marvel Fan Fest kind of thing. So that's been out there for a while now, and in my opinion, perfect casting.
Yeah,
completely agree. I'd still like to see Wesley in a little cameo or something.
Somewhere.
I think that would be really cool, but I don't think they could have done this better, honestly. I'm excited for it.
Exactly. Because with vampires being out there, there's got to be other bounty hunters. So
there's got to be.
Or, the multiverse is there now.
We could have both Blades.
Oh, so epic, so epic. Now, this next one is what we teased earlier on the show. This is so super exciting because we love her. She's an amazing actress.
Yes.
This is a star. Lyric Ross has signed on for a role in the upcoming Marvel series Ironheart. Now, Ross joins the previously announced cast members Dominique Thorne and Anthony Ramos, as we've previously reported on the show. It follows the Marvel character Riri Williams, played by, obviously, Thorne, a genius inventor and creator of the most advanced suit of armor since the man himself, Iron Man. Ross is believed to be playing Williams' best friend. Now, details on the character Ramos is playing is completely kept under wraps at the moment. And so, I mean, we got our theories, but we're super excited.
Yeah.
I'm just pumped because I think this is going to be a great fucking show.
I think it's going to be a brilliant show. Now, all you comic book hardcore guys, relax.
Chill.
They are taking a little liberty. She's obviously being introduced in Black Panther, the sequel to Black Panther. So it looks like maybe the technology and stuff's coming from there. She's not going to be, the mentee of Iron Man like in the comic books and everything. Chill.
Calm down.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fantastic. And Ironheart is going to kick ass.
Just have faith. Just have faith.
Now, I've got some really exciting news if you're north of the border. That's all I'm going to say. Unfortunately, not for us.
Yeah.
But it is exciting nonetheless. Marvel's first run of TV shows set in the cinematic universe. Remember that whole it's all connected, but it wasn't, but it is, but it wasn't, but it is. Yeah, that. Okay, I'm of course talking about Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Punisher, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and the Defenders. Yes. Well, guess what? They leave Netflix March 1st, and they've got a new home. Yes, they officially have a new home. They are coming to Disney+.
Wild.
Canada.
Oh. There's the catch.
They're coming to Disney Plus Canada.
Hey.
So there's no official word yet as to whether they'll show up on Disney Plus in America. More likely Hulu. That's what we're hearing. It's probably going to be Hulu, but it could be Disney Plus. We don't know. Maybe that's the Moon Knight trial. They're waiting to see if the violence is going to go well or not. We don't know. But as you guys know, that hasn't kept them from appearing in the MCU. We've had Daredevil show up in Spider-Man Far From Home. We've had Kingpin show No Way Home. We've had Kingpin show up in Hawkeye, and so they're there. They're there.
Obviously,
they're getting there. So I feel pretty confident Hulu.
I think so too. I think they're definitely testing how it's going to be in Canada, so it's not on the mainland. But I'm really pumped. I'm really pumped for just transitioning. I'm excited for this transitional period because if anybody's been watching Disney Plus, I'm sure you have noticed a lot of the ABC shows have been showing up on Disney Plus, like Blackish, Grownish, Wonder Years, and a couple of others. But definitely Grownish. That's very much a teenage adult show.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of on the same realm when it comes to drugs, sex, and violence, and not violence, but cursing. So I mean, they're testing the boundaries a little bit. And I like it because you got to evolve, even though you want to stick to that Disney brand.
Yeah,
it's good to evolve.
I'm telling you though, the one thing that's really encouraging to me here, because everybody was worried about, are they going to recast? Are they going to the idea that they're keeping all the shows, right? Because they could have just done Daredevil and Punisher and Jessica Jones, right? Because there had long been talk that they were going to not do Luke Cage, not do Iron Fist.
Yeah.
It's good news. The fact that they're all showing up on Disney Plus Canada means that maybe there aren't going to be those recastings that everybody keeps talking about. Maybe Mike Coulter will be back as Luke Cage, and maybe everybody will be back from Iron Fist and stuff, which I think they should.
Yeah.
I think they should, a lot of people dog Luke Cage and Iron Fist, but I think they were both good, and given the opportunity to thrive under MCU, I think it would be huge.
Yeah.
I think they would do really well. So I'm excited about that.
Definitely. Something that, I'm not that excited about. With production on Indiana Jones 5 finishing up, director James Mangold is already lining up his next big gig.
Makes sense.
According to sources, Mangold and 20th Century Studios are in development on a project about the life of filmmaker and comedian Buster Keaton.
Yes.
Now, with Mangold set to direct and produce, the project also keeps him in the Disney 20th Century Studios family, where he currently has his first look deal. Now, the film is based on the book Buster Keaton, Cut to the Chase, now by Marion Med. The executives have made this top priority as they meet with writers to adapt this book. With an icon of American cinema like Joseph Frank Buster Keaton, was a pioneer in the early days of the silent movies, and to this day is considered one of the greatest physical comedians in the movie history. His stunt work on such classics like The General, Sherlock Jr. are still considered some of the most impressive set pieces to ever be undertaken. Now, commenting him as one of the founding figures in film history.
Yeah.
So it's awesome just to, education. Education for the young bucks, like myself. So I'm pumped for it.
I mean, I'm pumped. I mean, look, we got a Charlie Chaplin one, right? Why not a Buster Keaton one? And
Exactly.
Mangold is so good. Remember Walk the Line? The man knows how to tell real life stories of characters. So, I mean, he's just a brilliant freaking director. And by the way, you know what his first film was under that first look deal with 20th? He was brought on specifically to take over the Wolverine franchise. And he fixed it.
There it is.
He finally got Logan right. That's why I love Mangold. He's the man. Gold. David Damachian, Marin Ireland, Vivian Lyra Blair, and Madison Who, as in H.U., have signed on to star alongside Chris Messina and Sophie Thatcher in 20th Century Studios' horror thriller, The Boogeyman. Yes, The Boogeyman, based on Stephen King's 1973 short story of the same name. It started production actually already in New Orleans, which is the perfect place for Boogeyman, because,
Right.
it's all
Come on now.
shit right there. It's going to debut in 2023 on Hulu. Now, the film, from director Rob Savage, if you're unfamiliar with the story, follows a 16-year-old and her younger sister still reeling from the death of their mother as they're targeted by a supernatural boogeyman. And their psychological father had an encounter with a desperate patient in their house.
That's very interesting.
So, yeah.
I hope they what do they call the boogeyman down there? Like arugula or something like that? Or they have some sort of weird name. I hope they bring in that New Orleans feel to the film too. I mean, come on now, New Orleans is a beautiful place. Aziz Ansari is attached to direct an untitled comic drama for Searchlight Pictures. He will also co-star in the movie with Bill Murray.
Good choice.
In addition to directing the film in his feature debut. That's a lot to put on the first one. Asnari is also writing the screenplay and producing the movie. Searchlight will release the film theatrically in 2023. The project is being adapted from Atul Gawande's 2014 notification book, Being Mortal: Medicine and What Matters in the End.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, if you guys aren't familiar with that, it's basically about a book with these terminal patients who fear death, like they're terrified of where they go after death and kind of stuff. So that's what the book kind of deals with, and so I'm guessing, I don't know, comedic. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But Bill Murray, we know, can pull off comedy with like a serious edge to
For
it.
sure.
So, man, if you're going to have a directorial debut, Bill Murray's, that's
Yeah.
a pretty solid guy to have in your film. I'm excited about this one. Arrow alum Juliana Harkavy. Now, you know her, Diana Drake, Black Canary. She has been apparently cast as a lead in ABC's drama pilot L.A. Law, the revival of the iconic Stephen Bochco legal drama that we've been telling you about. She joins, as we've said, original cast members Blair Underwood and Corbin Burnson, who are reprising their roles as Jonathan Rollins and Arnie Becker, respectively, as we know. Now, let's see. Harkavy will play Yvette Cabrera, a savvy attorney and legal badass, that I swear to God, legal badass, who is pitted against Alana in an unexpectedly controversial case that makes headlines. Their courtroom battle is complicated by the fact that they used to be lovers.
Ooh.
Uh-oh, that never goes well. The unresolved issues of their past relationship cause a lot of friction between these two. No pun intended. But there's also undeniable sexual chemistry still at play as well. When Yvette is appointed a new partner in Alana's law firm, their relationship may prove increasingly complicated, to say the least.
To say the least. Very interesting. That should be interesting. We'll see what happens there. And after a huge 2021 for Andrew Garfield, it looks to continue on his hot streak.
Yes.
With the first teaser for Under the Banner of Heaven, a new Trime miniseries premiering this spring on FX on Hulu. Based off of the 2003 notification book from John Krusker, Under the Banner of Heaven focuses on a double murder committed by Ron and Dan Lafferty, two Mormon brothers who killed their sister-in-law Brenda and niece Erica back in 1984. Now, the miniseries will focus on Pierre.
I'd go Pyre.
Pyre, who's played by Garfield, the police detective assigned to investigate the Lafferty case, as he untangles the mystery and finds evidence linking the church to the crime. Pyre, and devout Mormon himself, undergoes an ugly crisis of faith. This marks the first lead television role for Garfield, who has until now focused on film and theater. So, I mean, it's always good to step into a new role.
And prediction, maybe could his first TV role as an Academy Award winner.
Just saying.
I think he's a strong sleeper in the category for Tick Tick Boom. I'm just telling you.
It's going to be good.
Dan Stevens. Remember him? Dan Stevens? I love Dan Stevens. He's been tapped for a key role in the Hulu limited series Immigrant, starring and executive produced by Kumali Nanjiani. Immigrant is the true story of Samin Steve Banjari, which will be played by Nanjiani, the Indian-American entrepreneur who started Chippendales. Did you know that? Did you know it was in it? I did not. See, I'm learning something. The series will detail the insane, darkly comedic, crime-ridden story behind the unique male review that became a cultural phenomena. Stevens will play Paul Snyder, a hustler and serial schmoozer. Paul Snyder stumbles upon the opportunity of a lifetime in the form of Steve Banjari and his struggling LA backgammon club. Through their unlikely partnership, the iconic male stripping institution, Chippendales, is born. So Chippendales was started from a failing backgammon club?
Who knew? Who knew?
What?
That's funny.
All right.
Who knew, man? But Hulu has acquired the U.S. rights to Fireheart, and it's an animated family film. Features voice cast headlined by Olivia Cook, William Shatner, Laurie Holden, and Kenneth Branagh. Set in New York in the Roaring 20s, the film follows a fearless 14-year-old girl, Georgia Nolan, played by Cook, who dreams of being the world's first ever female firefighter. When a mysterious arsonist starts burning down Broadway, New York's firemen begin vanishing. Georgia's father, Sean, played by Branagh, is called out of retirement by the mayor of New York to lead the investigation into the disappearances. Desperate to help her father and save her city, Georgia disguises herself as a young man called Joe and joins a small group of misfit firefighters trying to stop the arsonist. That's a very interesting take. I like that. I'm excited for that one.
I am too. I bet Shatner's the mayor.
Right.
I'm just saying.
For sure.
I mean, Captain Kirk as a mayor, awesome. Hey, this is fucking awesome because I'm a fan of all of this all the way around. Quentin Tarantino is in early talks to helm one of 2 episodes of Justified City of Primeval. Now that, of course, is the limited series revival of the FX drama starring Timothy Olyphant, who also a huge fan of. Now, Tarantino and Olyphant, as you guys know, worked together on Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, with Olyphant, of course, playing James Stacey. I am so fucking pumped that this show is coming back and that we're getting a sequel, basically, to Justified. And now you're telling me Quentin Tarantino's going to direct a couple episodes?
Right.
Yes, yes, and yes.
So good, man. So good. Especially since we heard that the Star Trek thing's not going forward.
Yeah, no, that's not...
But, you know. Well, this one's interesting because Lisa Eldstein is exiting 911 Lone Star after playing Gwyneth Morgan, the ex-wife of Rob Lowe's Chief Owen Strand, and the mother of Ronan Rubinstein's TK Strand. Now, for 2 seasons on the Fox drama, Farewell will come next week in 911 Lone Star, an episode that is for sure to be a tearjerker for viewers at home and TK and Owen on screen.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I was really enjoying her character as the ex-wife, too. I thought that the chemistry between them was really awesome. So on this week's episode, he got a phone call and said, "Your mom is dead."
Oof. So
I guess, I don't know if we're going to see what happens to her, flashbacks, whatever, but they did say we would get to see her again before they kiss her off. So, I don't know. Sad. Hey, guess who's coming back to Fox? Michael Chiklis. Yes, Michael Chiklis. He's set to star in the first episode of the upcoming Fox crime anthology series, Accused. This sounds interesting, too. The series is based on the BBC crime anthology of the same name. Each episode opens in a courtroom of the accused, with the audience knowing nothing about the crime or how they ended up on trial. Now, Chiklis is going to play Dr. Scott Corbett, a successful brain surgeon with a seemingly perfect family. He faces the limits of unconditional love when he discovers his teenage son may be planning a violent attack attack at school.
Ooh.
The role marks a return, as I said, to Fox for Chiklis, who, of course, as you guys know if you were fans with Gotham, played the role of Nathaniel Barnes. So, I just love Chiklis all the way around, and this sounds like it's going to be an interesting premise.
Yeah, that sounds dark as shit.
Yeah.
Now heading over to Warner Media, or who knows what it's going to be called, because Hollywood's next big merger could happen sooner than originally thought. AT&T and Discovery are expected to close Discovery's $43 billion acquisition of Warner Media to create a new company, Warner Brothers Discovery, as early as mid-April. Now, according to sources familiar with the deal, Discovery shareholder vote on the deal, which has already received regulatory approval from the DOJ, is set for March 11th, and the two companies are preparing for a close somewhere between April 11th to the 28th.
That's
now,
real close.
That's real freaking close. Now, Discovery chief David Zalaf, whatever the fuck his name is, will become president and CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery upon the deal closing. Warner Media CEO Jason Kilar is expected to exit, but he's been talking about this for a while, that he knew that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
yeah, man, I mean, that everybody's got eyes on that one, so it's going to be a lot of interesting things happening over
I just
there.
have one thing to say. David Zaslav's ego needs to get out of the way. Like, I get Discovery is merging, but did you learn nothing from Viacom CBS? They finally figured it out. Fucking Warner Brothers Discovery. Just call it Warner Brothers. Mm-hmm. Discovery hasn't been around 100 fucking years. Warner Brothers has. Everybody recognizes Warner Brothers. It's not two companies. It's one company. Go with the one everybody knows. Just fucking... You're going to be the CEO. Just fucking call it Warner Brothers. Dumbass. Steven Spielberg is developing an original feature film. I'm super fucking excited about this one too, guys. He's developing a new original film based on Steve McQueen's badass fucking Bullet. Yes, the 1968 thriller Bullet that with Steve McQueen and that fucking 1968 badass Bullet Mustang. My favorite car ever. Just saying. Josh Singer is set to write the screenplay with regular Spielberg collaborator Christy Maxo Krieger on board to produce with the director. Now, get this though, guys. If you weren't... Warner Brothers released it way back in the day, but if you didn't know, McQueen was one of the creators of it, so his family had the rights to it.
Full circle.
So, yes. So, McQueen's son, Chad McQueen, and granddaughter, Molly McQueen, are executive producing after apparently a lengthy negotiation process with the McQueen estate to secure the rights to the character. Warner Brothers, once again, will release the film for the studio for Spielberg, which is not a remake, I want to clarify that, but an original story, a new story featuring the character of Bullet. So, I'm super excited about this. I think it's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's going to expose that character and the story to a whole new audience because, I mean, it's been a while.
And possibly the 68 Mustang.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Bring it back. Bring it back. Wu Jin is the highest grossing male actor of all time in China, and he will join British action star Jason Statham in Warner Brothers' Meg 2 The Trench. We were telling you guys about this one coming back for a sequel, surprisingly. The 47-year-old Wu is a former martial artist who has successfully parlayed his career as both an actor and director in film and television. Now, production on Meg the Trench began at the end of January at the Warner-owned Livingston Studios outside of London. It will continue there until May before switching to outdoor locations, which will likely be in Asia. So, I mean, you know, you gotta approach everything. You gotta schedule it out on the handy dandy scheduler.
You do. China's a huge film market right now, and
It
they've
is.
basically been shutting the door on American films. So how do you to fix that? Get China's biggest fucking movie star to be in your movie. That's how you guarantee you
Exactly.
show up in China. Hey, what's the GOAT gonna do now?
What is he gonna?
What is he going to do? He's retired, right? Well, he's going to do what everybody thought he was going to do because he's like Tom Brady.
Tom
He's
Brady.
jumping to Hollywood.
Yes, sir.
He's going to Hollywood. And not just to make cameos. This guy's getting serious about being in the film industry. Paramount Pictures has acquired worldwide rights to 80 for Brady. 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady will not only appear in the film, he's also going to produce through his newly minted production company, 199 Productions, alongside Oscar winner Donna Gigliotti and Endeavor Content. Now, Endeavor Content developed the film with Brady and Gigliotti. The feature project is inspired by, get this, the true story of four best friends and who happen to be New England Patriots fans who take a life-changing trip to the 2017 Super Bowl 51 to see their hero Tom Brady play, and of course the chaos that ensues as they navigate across the country on that road trip. But now here's the kicker. You're the greatest of all time. So when you're going to make your first movie and you're producing it, you should probably get some of the greatest of all time. So who's starring in this bad boy? Yes. Are you ready? Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, Rita Moreno, and Sally fucking Field.
That's wild.
That is 4 of the greatest actresses of all time in Hollywood history.
Yeah.
Good job, Goat.
I'm super surprised. I'm excited to see what he does. I'm
excited, and that foursome is going to be fucking hilarious together. I'm just telling you.
Agreed. Well, SEAL Team star Max Thriot has signed on for the lead role in a CBS drama, Cal Fire, as we told you on last week's show. Max co-wrote the story for the series, which is inspired by his life growing up in Northern California. He also will serve as executive producer. Now, Max currently stars in the SEAL Team, like I just said, which was recently renewed for a 6th season at Paramount Plus after it being aired its first 4 season on CBS. But according to sources, Max is hoping that he will be able to star in Cal Fire as well as continue starring on SEAL Team. And now, should the pilot be picked up to series? But I mean, a lot of actors are able to balance 2 different series.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could see it happening. Especially when you have that built-in relationship.
Yeah, and I mean, shit, if the series you created gets picked up and you can't balance both, it's pretty good to be the star of the series you fucking created.
For sure.
Just saying. This one, not so sure about. CBS has ordered Superfan, a series that will see one musical superfan aiming to prove they are a certain artist's ultimate supporter. Now, Superfan is a musical spectacle disguised as a game show that apparently will feature several rounds of play where fans will have the ability to advance to a final round for the chance to prove once and for all they are the ultimate fan. Each episode will name one superfan who will win the ultimate experience with their featured artist.
It sounds like, hey, let's expose stalkers for musicians. Let's do it. I know what your cat's name was when you were 5. This is weird. I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
This is very weird. Anyway, Call Me Cat actress Scholler Helford's teen parenting comedy Unplanned in Akron has received a pilot order at CBS. The multicam project follows 2 teenagers navigating parenthood in the best way they know how to, with a little help from their friends and parents. They'll learn that mistakes in life don't have to derail your life, that no matter what age you are, taking care of a child is no joke. But sometimes you just gotta laugh or cry your way through everything. Helford is co-executive producing the series. The project marks the 4th comedy pilot order at CBS this development season. So that is very freaking exciting.
I mean, it's just, times are changing.
Yeah.
Remember, back in the day, they wouldn't even let a married couple be in the same bed on TV.
Facts.
Now we're doing shows about teenage parents.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Super excited about this. She was on last week's episode, and it was fucking amazing, and I'm loving every second of it. Showtime's Billions has added Sakina Jaffrey to the drama as a series regular. She appears opposite stars Paul Giamatti, Corey Stoll, and Maggie Sith. Jaffrey plays Davisha Dave Mahar, a dogged defense attorney and a white shoe firm who goes up against New York Attorney General Chuck Rhodes on a case and then sways him to draft her into his cause. Will the former courtroom foes find a common enemy in billionaire Mike Prince? The answer is yes. She came in. He wooed her. She's now working with him. So if you guys don't know the name, it does sound familiar. House of Cards.
There it is.
Yeah, you'll look her up. You'll know exactly who she is, and she's a badass, and I'm super pumped.
This next one, I still have to watch the trailer for because I have yet to.
Dude.
The executive producer is of the upcoming Showtime anthology series, The First Lady, already thinking about what historical women they want to focus on in season 2. Now, Kathy Schulman and Susan Blair are teased during the show's TCA presentation on Wednesday that viewers could see appearances from Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, Hillary Clinton, Melania Trump, Dolly Madison, Edith Wilson, Martha Washington, and Rosalind Carter. That's a lot. In future installments, its debut season centering around Eleanor Roosevelt, Betty Ford, and Michelle Obama premieres April 17th.
Yeah.
Mark your calendars for this one. It's going to be special.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so fucking good. And those names for the second season,
Choo.
I'm already trying to rack up who's gonna play them, right?
Right.
Because the casting for this first season was fucking brilliant. Viola Davis as
spot.
Michelle Obama,
Yeah,
come
on.
the fuck on. All right, jumping to NBC Universal. And this is exciting. If you missed this one, this is fucking awesome too. Universal Pictures announced earlier this week that principal photography has already commenced apparently on Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. The film is shooting in multiple U.S. locations, including New Mexico, California, and New Jersey, and is expected to be released in North American theaters on July 21st, 2023. So it makes sense that it's already shooting.
Yeah.
Now, Universal also revealed a moody first look at star Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer. In the snapshot that they showed, Murphy is pictured staring intently while smoking a cigarette. Anybody who remembers the history or is a history buff knows that that's extremely important because Oppenheimer died from fucking lung cancer because he was a chain smoker. The guy, go figure, atomic bomb, chain smoker, like, makes sense.
Yeah.
But this is intense, and this is like I saw. This is the single largest A-list cast for any Christopher Nolan film ever.
That makes sense.
So I mean, they just keep adding names left and right, and our guy John Papsidera is the one putting them all together.
Killing it.
Yes, man.
Killing it, man. We love him. We love him. Well, someone else we love and a former guest on the podcast, James Moses Black, is the latest addition to be cast in Reinfeld, the Universal monster movie directed by Chris McKay. He joins ensemble cast including Nicholas Hoult, Nicolas Cage, and Awkwafina.
Yes!
The film centers around Reinfeld, who has grown sick and tired of the centuries as Dracula, a.k.a.'s lackey. And the henchman finds a new lease on life and maybe even redemption when his family falls for feisty, angry traffic cop Rebecca Quincy, a.k.a. Awkwafina. The film is set to begin shooting in New Orleans, so that's very exciting. I mean, New Orleans was once Hollywood South, and it looks like they're trying to rebuild that, man. They're trying to rebuild that.
Yep, they're trying to get there. This is surprising, but okay, here we go. There's another change at the helm of Dick Wolf's NBC drama Law & Order Organized Crime. Apparently, Eileen Chaikin is out after 14 months as executive producer and showrunner on the show. That's interesting. Now, remember, guys, Chaikin took the reins of Law & Order Organized Crime in December of 2020 as part of her new overall deal with Universal Television. Apparently, now she's going to focus on development under that overall deal. Chaikin's going to be replaced by Barry O'Brien, who will now serve as the showrunner for the remainder of the series' second season. He joined Organized Crime as a co-executive producer back in November. Apparently, word is that this showrunner change is not impacting production on the show, which still has 5 more episodes to film in its current second season. It's for sure going to get picked up for another season. Whether he sticks around as the showrunner for the third, we don't know, but you can guarantee it's going to be back. And by the way, if you didn't see it, the original returned this week, and it was fucking badass.
Was it?
Badass. Watch it.
It's going to be
Dun,
interesting, man. It's going to be very interesting.
This one.
Now, NBC is staying in the blacklist business. Now, the network has renewed its flagship espionage series for its 10th season. I'm surprised it's made it that long.
It's crazy.
The Blacklist is currently in the middle of broadcasting its 9th season and continues to draw in large numbers, reaching like 22 million views across digital and linear platforms. Now, that's growing over 200% from its Live Plus same-day average. So, I mean, that's wild. This is definitely something that has that, core audience that is there every single week in and week out, just ready to watch this thing.
And I truly thought it was going to die when the daughter, like Megan Boone, left the character.
Yeah.
You figured out, is Red her dad? Is he not her dad? And then she exited the show a couple seasons ago. I thought for sure it was over, but apparently fucking not. Hey, we're talking Sony, and when we talk Sony, we talk everything Spider-Man, right?
You know what
that's
it
the only
is.
fucking thing Sony knows. Sony Pictures has announced that Spider-Man No Way Home will arrive on digital March 22nd and on 4K, UHD, and Blu-ray on April 12th. Now, the studio brilliantly marked the occasion by releasing a photo of Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield reenacting the iconic Spider-Man pointing meme that everybody had seen for decades prior from the 1960s TV show. So that was fucking epic. Well done. Brilliant. Now, guys, since opening in theaters on December 17th, The movie has grossed $772 million and counting. It's still making money, guys, at the U.S. box office. That puts the movie, as we told you last week, ahead of James Cameron's Avatar as the third highest grossing domestic release in history, behind only Star Wars The Force Awakens and Avengers Endgame. The global box office gross stands at $1.8 billion. So, to no surprise, it's Sony's biggest film ever.
Yeah. Obviously. Obviously. I mean, there's so much happening with this thing. There's, like, amazing things happening. And, I mean, you know, they're trying to build off that Spider-Man universe. And, I mean, with those numbers, it's no surprise that Sony keeps expanding, like I said, the upcoming film Kraven the Hunter, starring Aaron Taylor Johnson as the classic Spider-Man villain, has added Fred Heichinger from The White Lotus and Pam and Tommy to its cast. It's currently unknown who he will play, but rumors have it he will portray a chameleon. So an evil master of disguise who happens to be Kraven's half-brother.
Yeah, that's interesting. I thought they'd for sure just focus on Kraven, but to bring in the brother, that's going to be an interesting move.
We'll see, man.
I'm excited. MGM, this is exciting too, because we love stories like this, and we need to keep hearing them. MGM's Creed 3 and Outlier Society, which is Michael B. Jordan's company, they have partnered with the Georgia Film Academy to hire 8 student interns to work on the boxing drama, which, of course, as we've told you, marks Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut. Now, the new partnership furthers the goals of the Georgia Film Academy, established in 2015, to create pathways for the next generation of film industry professionals by gaining experience with actually working on Hollywood's hottest film and television productions. Now, production on the third Creed began January 18th in Atlanta, with a theatrical release planned for this November. The 8 GFA interns placed on the set of Creed are working positions in the production office, the assistant director's department, video assistant, visual effects, grip and rigging, electrical and lighting, and special effects.
Nice.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Those are very important jobs that not a lot of people really talk about.
No.
So, I mean, it's awesome that they're offering these to expose those a little bit more. Lionsgate is working with Saturday Night Live alum Leslie Jones on an untitled Christmas comedy. Now, Jones is developing the holiday feature as a potential starring role. In the feature, Mrs. Claus is tired of not getting any credit for all the work she does during the Christmas time. She decides to leave Santa and run off to her hometown of Boston, where she moves in with her uptight sister and reconnects with her family, kickstarting a journey of self-discovery that will empower her sister and eventually lead her back to the real meaning of Christmas, which is family, obviously. But how you gonna leave Santa?
And why ain't Santa giving her no credit? That's
right.
I mean, I feel like Santa would, right? Like,
Male masculinity, man.
Even with Santa.
Even with Santa.
What are you going to do? It's all them elves.
Mansplaining.
So, are you a fan of Outlander? I was never a huge fan of Outlander. I just wasn't my thing. But if you're a fan of Outlander, you're going to be really excited about this. Apparently, a prequel series is in development at Starz.
Nice.
Now, according to sources, Outlander executive producer and showrunner Matthew B. Roberts is attached to write and executive produce the prequel. A writer's room is already being assembled with an eye to begin work in the coming weeks. Of course, exact plot details for what the prequel would focus on are being kept under those damn wraps.
Very interesting, man. Very interesting. Yeah, that was one that I watched the trailer for the first season. I was like, yeah,
that's how I was.
Now, heading over to Netflix, the streaming juggernaut. The final season of Ozark is going to premiere, or the final 7 episodes of Ozark are going to premiere in April 29th, the end of April, on Netflix. The official log line of Season 4, Part 2 reads, Marty and Wendy are rid of Helen and climb to the top of Navarro's empire.
Oh.
That's intense.
Yeah.
They find another opportunity to get out of the Ozarks, but some past sins won't stay buried, and most dangerous threats come from blood. Damn, that's intense. That makes me want to jump back on it. I guess, like, where I dropped off, like, at the end of Season 2 is where it actually started getting good. Of course. So, man, oh, man, we might have to jump back on it.
I mean, gotta do it. It's final 7 episodes. Hey, you know another big one on Netflix right now? Inventing Anna.
It is. A lot of people are talking about it.
I mean, Shonda Rhimes, because she created it, so you know. Well, the limited series about the grifter, otherwise known as Anna Sorokin, has scored, get this, the most hours average viewed for an English language series since Netflix changed the way it started reporting its ratings data last summer. The series, which stars Julia Garner from Ozark, as the fake heiress, was watched, get this, guys, 196 million hours in 6 days from February 14th through the 20th. That's on top of the 77 million hours that it had already been watched the previous week, having been released on February 11th. So the 11th through the 20th, so 77 million and 196. So you're looking at almost 300 million hours of views in 9 days.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Now that comfortably puts it as the streamer's most watched English language series in a 1 week period. However, the show does fall short of that other one that's not English, Squid Game, which registered the most hours watched, 571 million at the end of September and start of October.
That makes sense. I mean, a lot of good content, man. Like we were talking about, Netflix needs to focus on their television streaming series, and they're doing a good job. Amazon, Brett Gray and Carrie Young, Louis Barnes, and Olivia Washington have all been cast as series regulars, opposite of Jarrell Jerome in Amazon Prime's dark comedy series, I'm a Virgo. Created and written, directed by executive producer by Sorry to Bother You, director Boots Riley. Mike Epps and Carmen Ego are also set to recur in the project. Now, the series is described as a radical coming-of-age joyride about Coot, who's played by Jerome, a 13-foot-tall young black man who lives in Oakland, California. Good damn, that motherfucker. Woo! But yeah, man, I mean, that sounds interesting.
It's gonna be weird, right? Like, Sorry to Bother You is the one with the talking fucking horses, right?
Yeah, it was. It was. So I bet it's gonna be out there.
It's going to be out there.
But I'll watch it because of Mike Epps, because also a local 317 Indianapolis guy. So I'll watch it.
Facts. All right. The upcoming Apple Limited series Manhunt has added Anthony Boyle and Lovie Simone to its cast. The pair joined previously announced series lead Tobias Menzies. Now, the show is based on the book Manhunt, The 12-Day Chase for Lincoln's Killer by James Swanson. Menzies, of course, will star as Edwin Stanton, Abraham Lincoln's war secretary and friend who was driven nearly mad by the need to catch Lincoln's assassin, John Wilkes Booth, who will be played by the newly cast Boyle, and to carry out Lincoln's legacy. The series will also feature black historical figures, including Mary Sims, who's going to be played by Simone, a former slave of the doctor who treated Booth's injuries and gave him safe harbor after the crime.
Oh, wow, that sounds very interesting.
It's going to be really good.
I'm excited for that one. Sasha Lane, Christopher Abbott, and Emma Lord are rounding out the cast of The Crowded Room, Apple's seasonal anthology series from New Regency. Now, they famously are joined previously announced Tom Holland, Amanda Seyfried, and Amy Rossum, written and executive produced by Akiva Goldsman. The Crowded Room is an anthology series that will explore inspirational stories of those who have struggled with mental illness and learned how to live with it successfully. The 10-episode first season is based partly on Goldsman's own life. So that's deep, man. I mean, it's all about talking more about mental health. So that's what we're talking about.
And guys, if you ever want to just clarify how young Tom Holland is, Emmy Rossum, shameless, Emmy Rossum, you know her, you love her, she's playing his mom.
Yeah.
What the fuck? She's she's playing his mom. That's how fucking young Tom Holland is. Oscar nominee Sacha Baron Cohen is in talks to join Cate Blanchett and Kevin Kline in Disclaimer, the Apple TV series adaptation of Renee Knight's novel that is being written, directed, and executive produced by Oscar winner Alfonso Cuarón. Translation, I'm not watching it. I couldn't get through his last one. I fell asleep every time I tried. I love that cast, but I'm not watching it.
Just saying. Oh, man. But get this, guys. That was a great industry news segment, but now it's time for a great interview segment, because we got the one and only Hamish Allan-Headley coming on the show. Breakout star of Mayor of Kingstown. This guy is a certified badass, says it on his license. But man, oh man, it was just a great conversation to have with this man. He was super inspiring and it's going to help all the up-and-comers trying to break into the industry with his advantages and disadvantages that he faced trying to make it happen.
Oh, absolutely. Guys, for one thing, he is definitive proof that no matter what background you come from or where you're at, you can make it if that's what you want to do.
Facts.
And he is just definitive proof of that, and you're going to see that when you listen to this interview.
Exactly. Well, here he is.
Hamish Allan-Headley, welcome inside the Crazy Ant Farm, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, man. Thank you. Very happy to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, dude, we are so excited to talk to you. We've got a lot of listeners that are huge fans of the show, Mayor of Kingstown, and huge fans of the character.
Yeah.
You know, like Robert is a fucking badass, bro. Like, if I'm going in somewhere, that's who I want with me. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he's the guy, man.
Yeah,
he's the guy you want beside you, right? For sure.
Absolutely, my man. Absolutely. So we're pumped. We got a lot of questions. You know, we got a lot to talk about. But the first thing we like to do is kind of like, and because, you know, Logan was kind of joking. I wonder if he's part of the CIA or like what's going on, because we do a lot of research on our guests and we couldn't find anything on you, bro. Like nothing. Yeah. It was like, man, where's this guy's bio? So, you know. Let's start off with an introduction for the listeners and for anybody that might not be familiar with you. Acting, was it something like you always kind of wanted to do? Was it something you knew from the very beginning, or did you kind of fall into it, or what?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I grew up on a small island off the west coast of British Columbia.
Okay.
So like a couple hours out of Vancouver, and it's a real small town. Mm-hmm. Like when I was born, there was like 800,000 people there. You know.
Oh wow.
It's been gentrified heavily since. So now it's quite a destination spot
For sure.
But you know, there was like a community theater group there, you know, that I was kind of part of and stuff. And so there was a lot of artists who lived there. Yeah. Like it was pretty like off the grid sort of place. Right. So there was a lot of like, you know, hippies and rednecks was sort of the mix, you know, and it was a pretty rural spot. And so there was a lot of people like living sort of alternative lifestyle out there.
Sure.
You know,
yeah.
Back in those days and shit. So, so there was a lot of that sort of stuff to get your teeth into, you know, it for the most part. And then, I'm from a construction family, so
okay.
I'm a journeyman electrician and worked on a framing crew forever and all that stuff. So
nice.
So we were, so that's how you made your money, and then you know you do that stuff every once in a while. But I was sort of one of my only guys in my crew that did that, and then I was doing one of these community plays one day, and this fella came, and he had been to New York City, you know, and he'd been to the Big Apple, and he'd done all the acting stuff. And he came to see one of my plays, and he was like, "Hey, you know, you're pretty fucking good at this. And, you know, you should go to this place that I went to in New York." And I like ran home, Googled that shit, bought my plane ticket, and left pretty much the next day. You know,
nice, man.
And then as soon as I came out of the Port Authority, that was it for me. I was like, "Yep, this is the spot," and sort of, you know,
there we
went
go.
To school there and.
Hell yeah.
That's how it all started.
Nice. Dude, that's what it's all about. Taking that risk, taking that leap, and just fucking hitting the ground running, man. And it just sounds like that's what you did. And I mean, especially in no better place than New York City. That place, you have the theater experience, and now you have the on-camera experience. I mean, that is the perfect place for you. And that's great to hear because your performance is outstanding in Mayor of Kingstown. I mean, every time you hit the screen, we were like, oh, fuck yeah. Especially like those last two episodes where, like, you know, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen the last two episodes of Mayor of Kingstown, but when you fucking infiltrate that fucking prison to, like, rescue the brother and shit, and when you're like, no, we're not just gonna rescue you, you gotta fucking murder these motherfuckers so that you can see it through with your life. But, dude, like,
man.
Like I said, every second that you're on screen, like, your talent just shines through, and, like, kudos to you, man.
And my favorite is before you even storm the prison, it's when you go into the tent with the state police and you like tell them how the fuck it's gonna go down. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys, man? This is how it's gonna go down. Like I said, from the first time we see you, you know, you got to take care of it. Yeah, this guy's not going to jail. Understood. I'm gonna put a bullet in his head. It's fine. It's good. It's cool. You know, I mean, it's like the best intro ever, man. It's like, you know, who do you go to when you need help? Robert.
Yeah,
That's
well, it was was nice. It's nice to play a character where people feel safe with you. You know
Absolutely,
what I mean? Like you come in and you're sort of a bit of a fix-it guy. And so
That's
people are
right.
like, oh, okay, you're here. So you feel safe doing that. You're like, oh, I'm the guy that everyone's counting on. So you bring that with it, and it's really, it's an absolute fucking treat to do something like that.
Oh, I bet. So talk about, because we may or may not have seen the audition. Talk about the audition process, and entering into that world, the Sheridan world, because this is like a freaking empire on Paramount Plus now. This guy's like everywhere doing everything. And Hugh Dillon co-created this one with him. But talk about that. Talk about the audition and just kind of like what it's like to work in that environment and be a part of that cast, man.
Oh man, I mean, it's a dream, like the audition process was pretty wild. It was really quick for me. It was tape, Friday and you're fucking flying on Wednesday sort of deal.
Shit.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it was really quick for me,
Yeah.
And I guess he, saw the tape and he was like, okay, that's the guy. And from what I understand, they'd sort of been looking around and they couldn't find the right energy that they were looking for. And, I didn't come from a military background or anything like that, but I working growing up in a blue collar family and working, hard construction jobs and shit. It was pretty easy for me to sort of slip into, that role, that scene you're talking about. And when I'm, giving all the guys shit in front of the prison, that was like pretty much my upbringing on a construction site.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I was just like, oh, I'm going to do my stepdad. Okay, here you go. Boom. And
That's it.
Yeah.
Man.
that was it. Right. So it was pretty easy for me to fall into that. And so I think I brought that energy to it and they responded well to that, and then working with a crew like that, with a bunch of creators like that, it's just like, it's the dream, that's what you always want to do. It's been the ambition from the start. When I saw Wind River, a long time ago.
Yep.
And that was like the first time that I was like, Taylor, who? Like, what is this?
Right.
And I saw that sort of that level of truth and grit and everything, and I was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be part of.
Yeah.
And so when I saw this audition come through, I was like, oh, I got to kill myself to get this, everything, pull out all the stops sort of thing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. And it was really cool to be on that set because like Hugh and all these guys, this had been like a dream of his for a long time too. Sure. And so there was so many incredible things happening for pretty much everybody who was on that set. Everybody that I talked to was talking about like how this was quite a pinnacle sort of moment in their life and how all these people were coming together to create this incredible story and behind the scenes as well, people like on the crew and stuff and everybody. There was just this feeling that you were creating something special, which was really nice.
Yeah. Right. And I mean, yeah, it really is special because I really haven't seen anything like this before. I mean, we always have the stereotypical like dirty cop story or the stereotypical like gang riots or like, infiltrating gangs, but you never really get the in between where you get like the prison liaison to have somebody on the inside and on the outside and try to keep the peace against all of the different gangs, and especially Jeremy Renner's character, who was actually like, when he was locked up, he was a part of a situation that he didn't necessarily agree with of who he was as a real person. So I think it's a very different aspect, and I think that's what's so great about Taylor's shows is because it brings different things to the audience that we either haven't seen in a while or we've never seen at all. So I think those are very special. And like, yeah, just your character in general. Like, I would take your guy and freaking Rip all day, every day. If I was going anywhere, like Rip from Yellowstone and you, like, I mean, nobody would mess with us.
Jesus, can we do a crossover? Just get the two of y'all together in a room? That would be so badass.
Right on, man. Well, that dude, I've never met Cole Hauser, but that guy's incredible, man.
Oh,
so
dude,
put
man.
me in the same league as that dude. Like that's
Oh,
huge.
dude, you're
Really?
right there, my man. You are right there.
That's kind of you guys. I admire his work a lot. You know?
Oh, man. You know what I like that you said, though, and just kind of the way you were describing the crew and the whole atmosphere and creating something special and everything. I think that's a huge dynamic of the show, too. The family aspect to it, right?
Yeah,
and this blue-collar neighborhood and this blue-collar, basically, area to where you don't really have a choice. You're either you're going to end up in prison or you're going to be a cop. You might be a good cop, bad cop, but you've really got, like, this is your choice, and one way or another, this is where you're going. And I kind of like how they deal with the family aspect of that and what it means, you know? Like the mom character just continuously saying, you know, your dad was this, and you had a choice, but you fell down this way anyway, and kind of, so to get that, and like you said, your guy, I feel like, is family. He's the one they call, they trust. Like, you got to get some shit done. We got to fix some shit. That's our guy. We trust him. He's family. I really like that. And I think that Taylor does a really good job. He's loyal. Man, you see so many people in different projects, right? Like, I feel like once you're a part of his family, you're a part of his family, and you could end up in any one of his projects anywhere, right? Like, talk about that a little bit, the family dynamic, because I feel like you guys have a really solid chemistry on set, and I feel like you've developed a family, man.
Totally, man. And I think that comes from knowing, you know, comes from a lot of things. But one of the things is just knowing that you're working on something that's special. Mm-hmm. You know, you're working on, so like you get the scripts and you read them and you're like, holy shit, you know, because you read some stuff, you know, you go for stuff that isn't as good as that.
Right.
You know, and you do it, and that's just the gig, right?
Right.
But this was special when you read that shit, and everybody knew it, and the cast, everybody was so well put in their spots, like Taylor Handley, you know, like Emma Laird, like, you know, Toby, all those guys are just so perfect where they are, you know, and they really put together like an incredible crew. But you know, I've never seen like somebody on set like Taylor Sheridan. Like I've never seen somebody take the whole thing by the horns.
Right.
You know, I mean, he's a real cowboy. I mean, you see.
Oh yeah, hell yeah,
yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking unbelievable. And my when I was a kid, when my folks split, my mom went and worked on a ranch for a while, and she was, you know, she's a cowboy essentially, and they were like that, you know, like they just had this way of taking the situation and making you feel super safe and guiding you in a direction. And the way that he would come on set and be like, you know, everybody would gather around and he'd be like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to shoot it like this. Then we're going to shoot it like that. Then we're going to shoot it like that. Then we're going to shoot it like that. Then we're going to do this. Then we're going to move in there. And then we're going to go home. And there was just this incredible, you know, order of it and the way that it moved. And we were all work together and we all loved it. But we all, you know, we're moving, you know, and sometimes you get there and things are, you know, and I think that him having such strong leadership and such strong vision was something that we could all really get behind and feel like we were in the right place, and his confidence in his work and in himself really spreads to you because he chose, you know, he's like, so also when you're doing something, when you're doing a scene and he says it's good, that means it's good.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
exactly.
You don't gotta worry about it.
That's right. Because I feel like there's probably like that cowboy in him. He expects a certain level, right? Like he's bringing this, and he expects you to bring this, and he'll let you know when you don't, right? Like he'll tell you, "Great, that's good," but I'm getting a feeling he probably tells you when it's not, too, right?
I would feel bad for the poor fucking bastard who showed up there unprepared. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You just wouldn't. You just wouldn't, man.
And he's like a master of disguise too. Like in every show, I'm like, "Is that him? Wait a minute." It's like, man, that dude's scary, bro, but in the best way possible, man.
Yeah, but he's so cool. It's so welcome. He just creates this like this place where, you know, and I think you were talking about like people moving from project to project and using, you know, and he's an actor, right? So he knows when he finds somebody where they can speak the same language. Where they come to set prepared, where all that stuff, you know, he doesn't let them go, you know, and he's loyal that way, and you know, so it seems so.
And that's how you get a lot of solid projects that way, when you trust people and you can bring them from project to project because you know what you're going to get. They know what he's going to give. And I mean, that's the way you build, like you said, something special.
Oh yeah, man. And it's like, it's like when you're building a house, you got a guy who does a good roof. Like why would you call somebody else?
That's right.
Exactly.
Exactly right.
He's your man now. So bring him in.
That's
Exactly.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Something I think that's really special about him too is that he writes the majority of the content he puts out, if not all of the content he puts out. Just having people to bounce ideas off of course, but at the end of the day, written by Taylor, and it's just like, holy shit, this guy never stops. It really seems like he never stops.
Like,
and I mean, we're getting so many more like Yellowstone spinoffs. I mean, fuck.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, there's lots more coming. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've ever been around somebody like that.
Right.
To be honest with you, that's like, I don't know, for lack of a better word, like expanding at that rate.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like he gets on set, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this guy eating?
Right.
Man? Like, I need some of that.
Yeah, man.
Like, how does he keep going like that?
How do you
where are all these fucking scripts coming from?
Right.
Exactly. How do you write every script for 5,000 shows? Like, it's like, that's mind-boggling how that happens. Well, being around that though, right? And kind of like in that environment, and you've got all these people that he's brought in and all these different actors and these different crew people. Has that kind of swayed you to maybe want to take a turn behind the camera, kind of do some stuff, back behind it, or are you just wanting to stay in front, or what?
Yeah, I think I'm good to stay in front a little bit. I mean, I've done some. I would work that way in the theater.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I've done a lot of plays, and I understand that medium really well, I think. But when it comes to filmmaking, I watched a first cut of something the other day that a friend of mine and I, he was working on, and I was like, what the fuck, and I had never really watched the first cut before, and he was like, oh no, we're gonna fix it like this and like this and like that. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But I when you watch somebody like that, like the things that he would say, just very simple things,
right?
That he understood the medium so well. Not only did he have these brilliant ideas and he was an incredible writer, but he understood how to tell stories through film, like nobody I've seen, or like people that I'd worked with in the theater that understood that medium. You know what I mean? And you're talking about him, like the story of Mayor of Kingstown and how you've had cop shows and you've had prison shows and this coming together. And I think his like genius comes through like the simplicity of the storytelling,
right? Right.
Like he just hooks these two ideas together, and that's genius. Like if you can make something nice and simple, a simple little story, it's like really something else.
And beyond genius when you mix simplicity with authenticity, because I feel like all of his stories are very authentic, right? You feel like you can just jump right in there and be a part of that life, be connected to that life, because that's real. And it's got to be something awesome to be a part of that, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that's absolutely true, because like you said, like authenticity is everything. Oh yeah. Nobody. That's always what you're looking for in any piece of art or anything, some authentic expression. So, and he does that like nobody's business, man.
Oh, absolutely.
It's all about finding people, like you were talking about with your buddy. It's all about finding people who can see the finished product before it's even close to being done, oh, this little part is going to move here, or this little part's going to move here, or like there's going to be a caption right here, or something to that effect. And it's those people in filmmaking, in the entertainment industry, that make it so special and bring like creative people and very talented people like you in the place to shine where you can. And I mean, that's what I was going to bring up too. Like, you're very good at that blue collar type of role. I think that is like a very good niche to have, especially in today's time where we have so many of this type of content coming out. Is there anything that you would try to step outside of the box and want to try, or do you like staying in that blue collar role?
So blue collar jobs, that's sort of like my bread and butter. That's I do that pretty well, and that was what was really nice about working on this project. And it was like, here you go, here's a piece, and you show the things that you do like well.
Right.
One of my favorite actors is Oscar Isaac.
Oh yeah,
because that dude, like he's always authentic and he's always there and he's never doing something weird,
Right.
But he can do anything.
Yeah.
I would like you see him in Drive.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? That was fucking sweet, right? And
Oh,
it's that blue
absolutely, man.
collar sort of edge thing. You're
Hell
like,
yeah.
what's this guy gonna do, and what's his deal, and all
Yeah.
that shit. And then you just watch him in Dune. You know?
And you know
Or
what?
like-
It's funny that you brought him up because that goes back to that authenticity thing, right? Like I just saw an interview he did about why he took Moon Knight. And he said, because we have all this prefabricated stuff and all these ideas of, and this script just felt handmade to me. Like I could come in and just craft this character authentic, you know. And so it's funny that you bring him up because like Logan said, you are very much like that. I feel like you are very much that actor that can come in and handmade and craft that role for you and brilliantly so. And so we have to say, for anybody who didn't hear, it was recently announced that you guys are getting another season, a season 2.
Yeah.
So we're going to go on record right now and say we want a whole lot more of Robert.
Hey,
You know,
right on,
I'd
brother.
like to see a lot of that background story,
For
right?
sure.
Like why is Robert that guy? Where is that story coming from? And you know Taylor's got it. There's no way he doesn't have a backstory for you. So, but we would love to see that, man.
Yeah. Oh man, me too. Obviously, so much. You know.
Do you kind of have an idea? Do you have like where you think Robert comes from, and like have you thought about that?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, you have to feel like the guy, right? You know, I think I heard John C. Reilly say one time, in an interview that he was like, film acting is about knowing that you're the man for the job.
That's right.
You know, you got to step on the set knowing you're the guy.
Yep.
You know?
Right.
And so whatever you got to fucking do to do that.
That's right.
And one of the things I got to do is know, where this guy was born. And all that
Absolutely.
shit.
Yeah.
All of
Absolutely.
it.
So-
All of it. It's all about
so,
creating
yeah.
the story before even telling the story, It's a great thing. I love this medium, man. It's so fucking fun.
Yeah.
Something else that I'm very curious about because you're a badass, and like I said, I mean, you're very talented, and I just want to know, like, at the end of the day, what's your goal for your career? Like, where are you gonna be when you sit back and be like, man, I really did that shit?
Well, I think it's there's a bunch of actors that I like admire and aspire to be like, and that's pretty, sort of easy way to say that, like in terms of the kind of careers that they have.
Right.
But I think, we're talking about today the topic seems to be authenticity, but I think that's it. It's like the more that I like fully engage with the work, and by that I mean like everything, like auditions, like doesn't matter what I'm doing, like it leads me towards the kind of things that I want to do. So I guess I want to feel like looking back on it, I want to feel like I was totally fulfilled. And I suppose like there's that wonderful thing about like the day before Picasso died, I don't know if this is true, but apparently he was like, tomorrow I have to buy more paint.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of thing that I would like to have. I would like to be working right up until the
Hell
day,
yeah,
and,
man.
and having like more curiosity and more places to go, because I feel like the longer I do it, the more there is to learn,
Right.
the deeper there is to go.
That's right.
So I just want to make sure that everything's challenging me every time, sort of.
Yeah,
That
we
would be
talk
really
about that all
nice.
the time, man. The second that you feel like you have nothing left to learn, you're done.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
you can never get to that point. There's always something that you can go to the next level with.
Yeah.
And going back to, because I like how you said that the theme seems to be the authenticity. And so let's talk about this, because we've been bringing this up in a lot of our past interviews, especially this year with everything that's kind of going on. Mental health. This storyline, the subject matter and what you have, because you do get so into character and so involved with what you're portraying. How do you deal with the situation? How do you separate yourself? How do you maintain your mental health when dealing with this type subject matter and these type things? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I sort of learned that really working in the theater, because you work on these plays and you do you do it 8 times a week, so
Right.
you'd be doing the same thing. And if it was a really, like right before the pandemic, I was doing a show here in New York, and it was very dark, and so it was super important for everybody involved that we take really good care of ourselves.
Sure.
Because you would get things would get pretty sad.
Can imagine.
And the things that you have to, the things that I make sure I do is just, I have a really like I'm quite regimented in my practices in the morning, with exercise, meditation, make sure I'm eating right and all that shit. And just trying to make sure I'm not spreading myself too thin when I'm fully engaged in a project like that. You know, it's like the work is everything. And part of the work is making sure that I'm okay so that I can do the work,
Well
so
said.
that means like, when I was younger and had more energy, I would, go out to the bar after a show or something like that.
Right.
And, you just can't do that sort of shit.
No.
You have a very limited amount of energy and you really got to take care of it.
That's right. Healthy body, healthy mind. It really does correlate. So
yeah. Man. And I think that I used to work at a school here in New York and there was a lot of the students there was this myth about sort of the tortured artist that would pull his inspiration out of a wine bottle, you know what I mean? Sort of Jack Kerouac sort of stuff. And I feel like that's just not true for our generation anymore. Like we gotta take care of ourselves so much.
That's right.
And so that's an interesting thing, that you're bringing that up, because you talk to a lot of people about that, do you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I feel like now especially there's so much going on, and you don't know what's going on in somebody's life. They might be the picture of, they're so happy and everything's fine, and then we're reading about them committing suicide, or you just don't know. It's so important these days to keep that stuff in check. So.
Yeah, and I think it's difficult too, like today, because of, and this is quite a sort of cliched thing to say, but because of social media and stuff like
Absolutely.
this, like everybody knows, or everybody's sort of expressing their thoughts all the time, which can be a very interesting thing.
Absolutely.
It's can be a good thing for creativity. But if you hook into it, and you just got to be careful with how you engage with that shit, because if you're not doing well, it can sort of magnify that for you.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, this podcast, I think I told you, it's branded on helping the up and comers trying to break into the entertainment industry, and how to, the do's and don'ts, and the advices, and the different paths that every single different entertainer, actor, producer, director takes, and how that this person that is listening to the podcast can approach how they're going to break into it as well. So, I mean, your story and the way that you told it, I think it's going to help a lot of people out.
Definitely.
And especially how to deal with stuff, because, I mean, it can be very overwhelming sometimes. I mean, we talk about it all the time. You basically audition 90% of the time, and you actually are acting about 10% of the time. So, I mean, it's not an industry, we don't like to say it's an industry full of rejection, but it's an industry full of selection.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's something like that.
Definitely, man. Definitely. And it looks very different when you first approach it than you find that it actually is,
Sure.
Yep. Like I when I came to New York, I went to school here for a couple of years, and then after I got out of school, I was sort of just banging around trying to figure out why nobody had made me a movie star. You know what I mean? And, auditions and getting rejected and stuff. And then I went, I did an MFA program in England, and we got to go to Russia for
there you go.
For 3 months and live and study there and shit like that, right? And that was really great, because I think I was going there expecting that they were going to give me this magic pill that was going to make me super talented,
right?
The greatest actor in the world and all this shit. And I got there and they were like, here's the steps, work hard, kid, take care of yourself. I was like, whoa, man, and it fucking blew my mind. Dispelled all these mysteries around Stanislavski and stuff, and I came back with the understanding, because the way that they had put it to me over there was like, you are a tradesperson, and just like a carpenter, your tools are you. And so what you guys are saying about making sure you're a healthy body, healthy mind, healthy work, then that's what the Russians really instilled in their actors and gave to me. That's what I brought back from there. For sure.
And so that brings it full circle, right? Like, you're a blue collar guy, you work hard for a living, that's your family, that's your life. You get into the acting thing and you think, oh no, I'm just going to be a movie star, and then Russia says, It's hard work. You got to put in the work. So full circle, right back, right?
Full circle,
yeah, man. You know, you're blue collar. You got to work for this shit too.
I never thought of it that way, but absolutely.
Yeah. So slap back into reality thanks to the Russians. There you go.
That's so funny, man. But listen, thank you so much for taking some time out of your night and coming to talk with us and get crazy. We really appreciate it. And of course, we love Mayor of Kingstown. Loved every second of it. I'm watching it my second time right now. So, I mean, you know, like, dude, it's absolutely amazing. Super excited for season 2. And, yeah, I mean, like you said, you brought it up earlier, social media, where can people follow you? Because we want you to get that necessary.
I'm just on Instagram.
Gotcha.
Hamish Allan-Headley. Yeah, I'm just on it. That's the only one I'm on right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but thanks, guys. I just wanted to say, too, like the news portion of your podcast is incredible, dude. It's incredible.
Thank you so much.
You guys are doing a huge service to like a lot of, especially up and comers, but also like I was listening to that and I was like, whoa, and I was hearing all this shit and I was like, oh man, that's great, and like taking notes and stuff, you know. So it's like that, and because there isn't, I haven't found a news source that is as thorough as you guys. So thank you,
man. Thank you, dude. We really appreciate that, because I think it's important to know the business that you're trying to work in, right? And you know,
100%.
So we try to put that in there. As much fun as we have, we try to make it informative too. So to be recognized for that, dude, we greatly appreciate that, man.
Yeah, right on. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Of course, dude.
It's been a pleasure.
Open invite, man. Anytime you want to come back and shoot the shit, talk about anything you want, dude, just come on, man. We'll have you.
Oh, right on, boys. Yeah, I'll be back. For sure.
Hell yeah, man. And like I said, the hat, dude. Anytime, like as soon as you popped up, like, hell yeah, this guy's cool.
Yeah, go Yankees.
That's absolutely right, man. Go Yankees. All right, dude. Take care, man, and we'll holler at you soon, buddy.
Yeah, thanks a lot, boys.
Bye-bye.
Oh, boy. That was fucking awesome.
Oh, my God, dude. That's like the most straight up, just like real guy. Right? Like I'm a blue-collar guy. I'm a blue-collar actor. I'm a it was so awesome.
Yes, sir. And you know, my creative brain, while we were talking to him, the juices were flowing. Him and Matt Hamilton in a buddy cop film.
Holy shit.
That would be
Holy
great.
Shit. How amazing would that be?
That would be
with
so
maybe
great.
Cole Hauser as the boss.
Yes.
Right? Like bring in Rip as the boss. Oh my God, that would be Taylor, write that shit. Or we'll write that shit. Whatever.
Or
like,
somebody write that.
That would be fucking epic.
But I mean, so fun. That was great.
I could see him and Matt Hamilton together.
Right?
Like that would be epic.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you again, Hamish, for coming on the show. All right, now it is time for our top 5 segment, man. And this week it is top 5 directors of color. And
yes.
Man, oh man, it was so hard to try to break this down to just 5. The last 3 weeks have been rough. I'm just saying.
I mean, but kudos to our producer, Jason, for doing this, because what a great way to celebrate Black History Month by doing all these top 5 categories with figures of color in our industry. Rightfully so, we need to recognize more of it. And yeah, it was hard because, I mean, going way back, there were some historical directors of color that were like groundbreaking and led the way to who we're seeing now. And yeah, this was a tough one.
Just saying, man. Just saying. Well, my number 5 goes to Antoine Fuqua. Man, oh man. I mean, all I have to say is Training Day. That's it.
I mean, that's enough
literally
right there.
All I have to say. And it's funny because I had just watched an interview with Terry Crews, and he said that just one day he just, got on set because his buddy was casting it or whatever. But then Antoine saw Terry and was just like, dude, you want to be in a movie? And of course, like, Terry's like, fuck yeah. So every single day he made sure to bring Terry back just to, give him that start. And fun fact, Terry didn't get paid for any of Training Day. That's crazy, right? I mean, you see what happens when you just want to get on set, and it's necessary sometimes, to get that exposure and to be on such a amazing fucking part of film history. I mean, Training Day, Denzel, and like Ethan Hawke. I mean, come on now. But yes, I mean, that story alone is why I put him on my list at number 5.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. My number 5 is one of those guys I'm talking about that was way back. You go way back, you'll recognize the name Robert Townsend. Hollywood Shuffle, Eddie Murphy's Raw, freaking just like so many amazing films that this was groundbreaking directing from a guy that there wasn't a whole lot of black directors doing it when this guy was doing it.
For sure.
And he ain't done. He's still, most recently, Black Lightning, Wonder Years. He's still going at it, guys. He's still doing a lot of stuff. But he was not scared, and he took on like films and subject matter that was Baps. You remember Baps with Warren Beatty and like
Right.
Halle Berry? Like what? Just he was not scared to go after it and do things, and just like I said, paved the way for a lot of the younger guys that are doing it now. And kudos to him. And I love the fact that he's still doing it. If you're not watching Wonder Years, holy shit, the new Wonder Years is so fucking good.
Right.
Check that out. And like I said, Robert Townsend, my number 5. Kudos,
For sure,
man.
I mean, such good. So good. Number 4, of course, I mean, we were like literally going back and forth trying to put all these people on our
who's
list.
gonna get on this list?
Oh, man. And I know this one, I mean, they were all, but this one particularly, the next few particularly.
Yeah.
Number 4 for me is the one and only Ryan Coogler. This guy is one of the most amazing like new age directors that we have in Hollywood right now. I mean, with everything that he's done with his collaborations with Michael B. I mean, Fruitvale Station is just such a beautiful film.
Jesus Christ. That shows the genius of both those men.
Exactly.
Like, I'm just saying.
Exactly. And I mean, of course, what he's done with Black Panther and his work with Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, and his work on the next Black Panther. So I just think, what he's doing in Hollywood is definitely going to change the game. And that's why I think it's necessary that we bring him into the conversation. So that's why he's on my list. Ryan Coogler at number 4.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. My number 4, guys, is somebody that you probably recognize the name, but probably most famous most recently for the Oscar nomination. And I'm, of course, talking about the Mrs. herself, Dee Reese. Mudbound. Remember Mudbound?
Yeah.
Netflix's big. It was like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of Netflix's first Oscar nominations.
I think so.
And for Dee Reese, she's just been killing it. But guys, it's not just for Mudbound. Everybody brings up that for her. But did you know Empire? She directed a bunch of episodes of Empire and Space Force. With Steve Carell.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so she is like all over the place. She's absolutely killing it. So don't just like target her with Mudbound and think that's her lane. She is literally all over the place doing all different kinds of things. And a woman getting it done, right? Because unfortunately these days still the amount of colored women, or women of color, is directing is like barely there. It's non-existent, and we need more of it. We need that, and she is, paving the way.
For
She's
sure.
getting it done. So yes,
Exactly. I mean, to bring up another powerful woman of color, my number 3, Regina King.
oh yeah,
Dude, One Night in Miami? Come on. She knocked that one out of the park, especially for her directorial debut, and was such amazing actors with that one. That one was a snub for me last year. That one should have got more awards. But
without doubt.
It happens. She will definitely be back. I mean, she is not only such a talented actress, but she is a very, very talented director as well. So I'm really excited to see what she does in the future, and we are definitely 110% behind her because she's a badass.
Oh my, and not recognized nearly enough. I can't wait for her to do far more behind the camera.
Yeah.
Because we all know she's great in front of it, but
Yeah.
what she's been able to do behind it has been amazing.
Yeah.
All right, guys, my number 3 is somebody that was in the movie for his number 5, Training Day, Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Yes, guys, he's not just a brilliant Oscar-nominated, Oscar-winning actor. The man has moved behind the camera and is getting it done as well.
Yes.
Fences, which he performed phenomenally on stage and then picked up the role and did it in film. Also directed that film. Fucking amazing. Jordan for Journal, most recently with Michael B. Jordan. The guy is getting it done. Did you guys know, fact, that Denzel Washington himself directed an episode of Grey's Anatomy?
It's true.
It's true.
It's
He's
true.
all over the place. He's a crazy-ass, awesome director, Denzel Washington. So, and I think he's finally now starting to, this is my gig. This is where I want to go.
Yeah.
You might probably still see him in front of the camera a lot, but I think he's enjoying the directing gig.
He's making that transition.
I think so. So my number 3, Denzel Washington. Watch out, world. I bet I'm seeing probably an Oscar nomination at some point down the future for Denzel Washington. as a director.
I agree, man.
Just saying.
I agree. And number 2 for me, how could we not put this man on the list? I mean, come on. The things that he has done in the entertainment industry as, like, you know, a notable, as a filmmaker, as an indie filmmaker coming from New York and owns that shit. He loves it. We're talking about the man, the myth, the legend himself, Spike Lee. Come on.
Who knew? Yeah.
So many films that we could rattle off with this guy. But for me, my favorite film I think that he's ever done is probably BlacKkKlansman. I just think that one was so underestimated. It got nominated for a few things, but the year that it came out, but it was so freaking good. You got John David Washington and Adam Driver in that thing, and fucking old boy from the 70s show. Like, I mean, it was so fucking good, and the rewatch value I feel like is so good, and it starts a conversation which is very necessary in today's time. So that's why number 2 for me goes to Spike Lee joint, Mr. Spike Lee.
There you go.
So
and
good.
let's not forget, directed way back in the day, Jordan's Air Jordan commercials.
Yeah.
I remember that with Bruno, and just come on now, it was
Exactly.
fucking fantastic. Those were great commercials. All right, my number 2, another epic female director of color, Miss Ava DuVernay.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, come on, guys. She's absolutely killing it. Everything from the 13th to August 28th to Queen Sugar to freaking... I can't even name all... A Wrinkle in Time. Just like so many epic projects that this woman has been behind as a director. Also producer, writer, like just extraordinaire. She's absolutely killing it. She is bringing stuff to films, television, streamers, everywhere. She's I think she's got to be one of the most talented storytellers
Agreed.
that we have seen in a very long time, male or female. She just, her ability to move a story, especially dialogue-driven stories.
Yeah.
She's so good at that. Some character-driven stuff. I really am a fan of her work, and she kind of inspires like what I like to do, like character-driven stuff and dialogue-driven stuff, and she's so good at that. And I think we're going to see a whole lot more of her too. In fact, both of our lists, if we don't see like a bunch of Oscars, like
something's
seriously,
wrong.
Something is seriously wrong. All of these people deserve it for sure.
Agreed, man. Agreed. Now, number 1 for me, I mean, this guy basically created a universe himself. As himself, as like different like alter egos, and I'm talking about the one and only Tyler Perry. You guys know we talk about him all the freaking time. He is one of our idols and inspirations, you know, getting into the film game, and of course becoming a studio head, because that is further down the line for the one and only Crazy Ant Media. And this is someone that, you know, we want to model our work after, because he is such a special individual. He is there for all men and women, but especially men and women of color. And he named each sound studio after different people of color who have made their stamp on the entertainment industry. And I think that was so special, and especially bringing them all out to have the unveiling of that. I think that was very special, because you could watch Will Smith's vlog about it, and it's just a badass time. But I mean, Tyler Perry he was living in his car, guys. Living in his car. Look where he is now. He's on top of the world, and he's only going to continue to grow because he's so special, like I said. So that's why he is number 1 for me, Mr. Tyler Perry.
I mean, it's hard to argue that.
Yeah,
Tyler Perry is like at the top of the game right now. And guys, this was a guy who was literally living out of the back of his station wagon with no fucking shoes, no food, and now billionaire with his own fucking studio.
Yep.
It can be done.
Exactly.
That's all we're saying.
Just saying.
My number 1, if you're talking about Ryan Coogler, if you're talking about Denzel Washington, if you're talking about any of these young up-and-comers, this man made it possible.
For sure.
John Singleton, may he rest in peace. I'm talking about the man, the myth, the legend himself, fucking Boys to Men. Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice with Tupac and Janet Jackson. Went on to do all kinds of stuff on television.
Yeah.
Like from Empire to just like, all kinds of stuff. Snowfall, he was working on right before he died. legendary. You talk about a guy that was character driven with storytelling.
Yeah.
I mean, it changed the game, guys. It like literally changed the game on how we viewed movies and how we viewed the story of. I think it started a much needed, along with Spike Lee. I think John Singleton and Spike Lee started the conversation that we needed to have with what life is like living in the hood, what life is like coming up as a young black man in society today.
For sure.
These guys started that conversation with their films and with their storytelling, and I think we owe a great debt to them. And to all of these future and up and coming filmmakers owe that debt to them for paving that way, because now it's out there. Ava herself and all these people telling these stories, these guys did it first.
Yep.
And I mean, if you have not watched those movies, Poetic Justice, in my opinion, one of the least recognized phenomenal films ever. Go back and watch that story. Both Tupac and Janet Jackson are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And our girl Regina King.
Yeah. Killing
it. Just all in that film and all brilliant. Directed brilliantly by Singleton himself. But yeah, he's my number one, and I can't say enough. I think that what he did, paving the way and starting those conversations, and I think up to his death, was keeping those conversations going. That's why he's my number one. Because it's hard, man. It's hard to. He's a great loss. It's a great loss for Hollywood for sure.
Facts. But man, oh man, that is our top 5 directors of color. We want to know, who is your favorite director of color? We love the conversation. Be sure to add us on Twitter, or be sure to comment below in the comment section. Love it. Now heading over to the box office recap. Man, oh man, I'm happy the number 1 performed the way it did, because it was a relatively good movie and just very entertaining, and that's what movies and films are supposed to be, just entertaining.
Yes.
So number 1, Uncharted. You know, a lot of people were fucking talking shit, but I bet it was just the gamers. You know, it's not the same, interpretation that came out with the game. So they were like, what the fuck? But no, I'm just saying, like, it was really entertaining, and they set up sequels, so hopefully that happens. But it came in at number 1 with 43.8 million. Number 2 was Dog with Channing Tatum and the dog with 14.9 million. Number 3 was Spider-Man No Way Home with 7.2 million. And number 4 was Death on the Nile with 6.5 million. And number 5 was Jackass Forever with 5.2 million.
Yeah, so if you're keeping track, Tom Holland led films, $50 million at the box office this past weekend. From what I understand, too, it looks like Uncharted is going to hold on to the number 1 spot for this weekend as well, with still over 20 million. Yeah. I think everybody's just, okay, let's go see that. But next week, Tom Holland will fall.
Yeah.
Because the bat
exactly
will rise. I'm just saying, that's not a bold prediction.
No.
Everybody fucking knows.
Yeah, like, come on now. New movies that are coming out this week. Studio 666. I'm super excited about. That's the one with the Foo Fighters. And it's basically a fucking horror movie. It looks so fucking funny.
It did pretty good in its limited release.
Yeah,
so
I'm pumped for that one. Kryno, The Burning Sea, Butter, and Desperate Hour. Select theaters near you. Movies you can still go see: Marry Me, Sing 2, Scream, The Cursed, and Blacklight. IMDb Pro's top trending segment, of course, the number 1 trending movie is Uncharted, because everybody was talking about it the week of and the week after that it came out. So everybody go see that one. It's really fun.
Do it.
And top trending TV show. This one everyone else is talking about. Inventing Anna. I got to jump on this one. I watched the trailer, and it looks very freaking interesting. And the top trending star is Julia Garner.
Of course.
Obviously.
It only makes sense for Inventing Anna and Ozark, probably.
Exactly.
I always love the story that the films you can still go see tell.
Yeah.
Like, when you read them in order, it's always an interesting story in itself. Like, Marry Me, and it ends with Blacklight. That's not
while screaming.
And just read them 5 in order, and you'll be like, that's an interesting story. You can build an entire script out of just the titles from old movies.
Facts. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you guys for getting crazy with us on episode 186 of Inside the Crazy Ant Farm. We got to thank our guest one more time, Hamish Allan-Headley.
Yes!
Be sure to follow him on Instagram, because that's where he's at. Be sure to follow the company and podcast on social media at ITCAFpodcast and at Crazy Ant Media. You guys know you can follow us both personally on social media as well. Myself at JLoFantastic and
Crazy Ant Guy 1970.
yes, sir. And you guys know you can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more.
So much.
And you guys know you can subscribe to our channel on YouTube.
Yes.
If you're watching the video, we appreciate it. Be sure to hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for all the latest and greatest notifications. And man, oh man, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear right here, right now. Be sure to follow us for the promotional dates, all the good stuff, shameless plug. But yes. It was just such an amazing show. We rocked and rolled. I gotta say, I'm super excited for all this Marvel stuff coming out. I mean, finally have it all under one roof, whether that be Hulu or Disney Plus. It's a beautiful thing. And Lyric Ross going into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's going to be amazing.
I am so excited about Ironheart. I was a huge fan of her in the comic books.
Yeah.
I always thought it was an interesting storyline, and I'm super pumped that they're bringing her live action into the MCU. I agree with you. I'm super pumped about that. Another thing that I loved talking about was poking fun at David Zaslav there for Discovery, Warner Media, Discovery, whatever the fuck. Warner Brothers, bro.
Yeah.
Just Warner Brothers. That's all I'm saying.
They're the new Viacom CBS.
I know. It's like, don't make the same fucking mistake you just saw. Warner Brothers.
It just makes more sense, man. It just makes more sense.
Sometimes it's just common sense.
Exactly.
Warner Brothers.
Exactly. You know what else is common sense? The way we wrap up our shows. That's it. That's right. We love the one, the only
Oprah!